How's it going, everyone? It's Vivi, and welcome to another Kingdom Hearts 3 ReMIND trailer analysis. As rumored in late November, we did get a brand new trailer this month, so with that being said, let's get into it. What I'd like to focus on are the parts where we tend to go, what's going on? Right, so I want to start with Sora's part. Sora trying to save Kairi. Sora is seen in the Keyblade graveyard, bodiless. So what's going on here? Let's first read the official description for the trailer, as it does bring up useful information. ReMIND, the other tale that unfolded during the climax of Kingdom Hearts 3. Determined to rescue Kairi, Sora travels to the Keyblade graveyard a short time before the final battle was to take place. Lacking a corporal form, he traces the hearts of the 7 Guardians of Light. Through experiencing their personal battles firsthand, Sora is about to discover truths that he has never before imagined. 3 key things this description brings out: other tale, 7 Guardians of Light, and truths. Number 1. The description mentions another tale, like another story, that happened during the climax. This other story has to do with Sora trying to bring back Kairi by yet again attempting the power of waking. Let's rewind a little. In the base Kingdom Hearts 3 game we have now, Sora rescued everyone after they got defeated. Ultimately, Kairi did end up helping Sora in the process. So what happened? Well, what I personally believe, their hearts, since their bodies perished, them getting defeated, well, their hearts, Sora was able to locate them, and by doing so they were able to go back to those old bodies, thus creating a reset or rewind in time. Their physical bodies didn't time travel. Heck, the rules of time travel in Kingdom Hearts state you have to discard your body and have a past version of yourself exist. Sora and the gang were lucky. Sora saw this as an opportunity. Their hearts were found by Sora. Those hearts went back in time and took over their past selves. Unfortunately, he chased after their hearts, which in the end comes with a price. Young Xehanort warned Sora that the power of waking is not to chase people's hearts around. Even Mickey said so in the ending, showing signs of worry. Sora is again chasing after their hearts. Well, in this case, Kairi's heart only. Now with the introduction of the term world lines, well then, when Sora went back the first time to rescue the hearts of the Guardians, the original timeline, or world line, where darkness prevailed, still exists. That world line is what the Book of Prophecies foretold. Well, what the Master of Masters saw into the future, technically. As for the Guardians winning and light prevailing, Sora rewinding time, that's another non-foretold world line. So the way Kingdom Hearts is handling time travel as of now, there's branches in the timeline. Sora trying to rescue Kairi will result in another third world line, again rewinding time, or in other words, rewriting the events of the Keyblade War. Why do I believe so? 2 things come to mind. During the 4th anniversary of Union Cross, Nomura brings up the term third line when talking about working on Kingdom Hearts 3's ReMIND. Back in early September, here's what was said by Nomura. Speaking of KH scenarios, I have finished ReMIND and finished the first 2 stories for Union Cross. As I just mentioned, I plan to write 2 more. However, I also received a mystery request for one thing to do first. I will return to Union Cross after. I'll just say this. That one mystery thing is related to a yet unannounced third line of Kingdom Hearts. And in the third line, blank, does that pique your interest? Third line could honestly mean anything, but at the end of the day, this is Tetsuya Nomura. 2. Pay close attention to the setting and HUD here. It's themed after the Keyblade graveyard. Yes, Kairi is playable. The amount of relief I've read from the community is insane. I am so happy she's playable, by the way. She looks quite overpowered. Well, she was training under, Merlin into this sort of special realm. Some people call it a hyperbolic time chamber, right? So she was in a realm where time flowed differently. So her being powerful like this, alright, she trained prior in a special realm. Okay, since we're here, let's analyze. First, the command menu, as I said, it's Keyblade Graveyard themed. This seems to be part of a scenario, not a limit cut, or data boss battle if you want to call it that. Xehanort's health here is the same as in the base game, except we are no longer in Scala at Kylam. Kingdom Hearts seems to be present, but submerged in darkness. This seems to imply that we're fighting Xehanort again, but retold, you know, another time rewind. I'll get to it more later. The platform is a bit similar to the platform when Kingdom Hearts was fully summoned with the Keyblade. As you've noticed, Kairi has a focus gauge. That means she has a shot lock, and is shown right here. The name of this shot lock appears to have the word princess in it. It's very blurry, it's very quick, but you do notice princess at least. If you squint your eyes, maybe you read heart of princess, but as I said, it's very blurry. I believe Xehanort has his 13 keys here. This time, since Kairi's playable, she was saved from Xehanort's clutches. She's now here fighting alongside Sora. Sora as a party member, would you look at that? I mean, we've seen this before with Riku, but I mean still. I want to say something. Xehanort's voice actor in Kingdom Hearts 3 sadly passed away. If he got replaced in ReMIND, then that would mean ReMIND has been worked on for the past year. I've seen people saying, oh, all of this content should have been in the base game. Guys, remember, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 got final mixes later. The same exact treatment. Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 as base games are pretty lackluster compared to the final mix versions. I don't want to get into this whole debate. All I want to say is I'm not mad about this. Would it have been cool if we had all these extra features from the get-go? Sure. But I'm used to this treatment, because it's happened before, I'm not surprised. So, back to the point, do we have the choice to play as either Sora or Kairi here? I believe so. Going back to a Famitsu interview from late June 2019, well, here it is. Oh, so the additional scenario is where they're playable. Nomura, similar to how you'd play as Riku and Aqua in the main story, there will be stages in the additional scenario where you can select which character you'd like to use. Because think of it this way, this is a main boss battle, this is still Xehanort we're talking about, so I'm assuming you can still play as Sora here. By the way, for those wondering if the story is getting rewritten in a way where we have to replay the game, no. ReMIND is completely independent. It's like an extra story after you complete the game. Think of the secret episode from Birth by Sleep, kinda thing. Nomura did confirm this during the same interview. Some might have thought, let's say, because of this scene between Luxord and Luxu/Xigbar, Luxord curious about the black box. Although this technically happens early on in the game during Sora's visit at Mount Olympus, Nomura explained, this will be part of the additional scenario. Yes, this takes place in the beginning, technically, but this scene will play once you play ReMIND. You don't have to replay the game. I'll bring up the quote for you from Nomura. Then the scenes with the Master of Masters and young Xehanort, as well as that of Luxord and Xigbar, must also be from the additional scenario. Nomura? That's right. The conversation between Luxord and Xigbar will take place at the beginning of the additional scenario. We're referring to it as an additional scenario because there are quite a lot of cutscenes. The scenario was rewritten twice, and it grew substantially by the final draft. The sheer volume exceeded our expectations. Back to the main point, Kairi being playable, as a choice most likely, so with that, let's talk more about Sora, yet again rewinding time, or rewriting, the Keyblade War, in order to save Kairi. The description states Sora lacks a body. At first, it seems like it, this scene right here. Using the connection he has with other people's hearts, he looks for Kairi. While trying to trace their hearts, Sora stumbles upon a dark inferno. I don't believe this is a recoloration, you know, the secret boss-ish from the base game. As the description states, there's more than one of these creatures. But why Ven though? Why from his dive into the heart station? This might be someone else's shadow. I heard theories of this having to do with Ephemer, or Ephemera. Basically, the Dark Inferno boss we have right now in the base game is now relevant to the story. Why am I not surprised? Don't forget, Ephemera's light did pop up to help Sora. You know, the light of the past. Whatever happened to Ephemera? However he died, a darkness came lingering within Ventus, probably due to the connection these two had during the Age of Fairy Tales. Ventus, after all, did house Vanitas, a darkness so strong it had a bodily figure. Since we're talking about diving to the heart stations, Riku's, which we see for the very first time. What's surprising about this one is it features Ansem. It just goes to show how Ansem is what defines Riku. Riku even said he feels he's going to miss him after defeating him. It's just something I wanted to point out. By tracing the hearts of his guardian friends, ultimately trying to look for Kairi, he wounds up before the war at the Keyblade graveyard, due to the connections of hearts. Square Enix took it upon themselves to explain what Aqua really felt in this scene. She saw anti-Aquas everywhere. What she was experiencing is like Realm of Darkness PTSD. Some understood what she went through from the get-go, her just standing there and getting wiped out by the wave of Heartless. Some even got frustrated that she just stood there. But now we understand it better. She just couldn't do it. 10 years in the Realm of Darkness, it took a toll on her mind. Sora even feels what Aqua felt here. If Sora went back in time, basically as a heart, I mean he has no body here, he surely took over his old self eventually. And why? Because in the next scene, he has a body. He's not glowing. Him using his old body from the original world line would explain the lack of Sora in some fight scenes now. Lee, Xian, and Roxas fighting? That wasn't supposed to happen. Originally, Lee was benched. It was Xian, Roxas, and Sora fighting. No Sora? So that explains it. He took over his old self and is just running around trying to prevent Kairi falling into the clutches of Xehanort. Their bodies here emitting a glow seems to represent that Link attack we saw in a previous ReMIND trailer. So with Sora running around trying to prevent Kairi from getting killed, Sora's unknowingly creating a new world line. He's rewriting the Keyblade War again, where light still prevails, with Kairi remaining alive, but Sora losing himself. Even this sequence with the Guardians fighting the Seekers, look at the HUD again, it's Keyblade Graveyard themed. It seems to be part of a scenario. Notice Roxas's magic hour from 358 over 2 days, which was originally a limit break, is now called Miracle Hour. Fun fact. This to me seems to be a rewritten scenario because of Sora. Scala is no longer in the picture. Well, I mean, Scala is now explorable. Yay! Finally. So much missed potential with this world. I wonder if this is the new Cavern of Remembrance. You know, fighting your way through a wave of Heartless, powerful Heartless, and nobodies. Or even perhaps Unversed, since we're talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't think you can control characters fully here, or even have the choice to choose between one of them. Notice how the command menu is simplified. I feel this battle will automatically switch between characters. You know, situation commands activating and switching to other characters, right? Doesn't seem too far-fetched. Now looking at the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3, it now seems to imply it takes place after ReMIND. Sora rewrites the timeline, Kairi's rescued, but since Sora abused the power of waking, rewriting the timeline over and over again, chasing after people's hearts, he disappears. And then Riku starts wondering where the heck's Sora. One thing you might not understand, if Sora went back in time and saved Kairi, why are these two in the final world? If Sora rewinded time again, as to not have Kairi fall into danger, why are these two here? I too had trouble with this at first, but then I thought, wait a minute, they have bodies here. People who end up in this place lack bodily figures. It could be Sora simply wanted Kairi to see this place. Sora remembered it, and he just thought, hey, let me just bring her here cause it looks like a perfect dating spot. Hey, they're holding hands after all, right? Other than that, the final world sequence with these two, I just can't think of anything else. Look, if it weren't for Sora rewriting the timeline, we could just say, okay, Sora discovers Kairi in the final world, he's able to take her back to Destiny Islands. But then, you know, he disappears due to abusing the power of waking. But looking at these additional boss battles with the Seekers, and go to Xehanort with Kairi, I mean, surely Sora attempted to rewrite the timeline. So with that in mind, I just can't wrap my head around this scenario. These two present in the final world. Like I said, they could just be visiting this place. Next, the Restoration Committee is brought back. Final Fantasy characters is one of the biggest complaints. The lack of Final Fantasy characters created this outrage for Kingdom Hearts 3. Either they listened to the community, you know, oh, okay, they want Final Fantasy characters, alright, fine. Or this was actually planned early on, at least for this part. I don't think Radiant Garden will be explorable. If so, that would be super. But in all honesty, these could all just be cutscenes with Riku. Him in the Keyblade Graveyard is, I believe, before the ending, that's for sure, because the buildings and all that, during the ending, it's all absent. Like I said before, sure, this scene takes place during the battle, but all these additional scenarios will play once you click on ReMIND. You know, when you start playing ReMIND. The scene with Aqua, I believe, is after the ending, after ReMIND. You know, Riku trying to look for Sora. Limit cut bosses. These right here are basically data battles. Sora is seen with the Oathkeeper and Oblivion. These Keyblades, which come with new form changes, will be free DLC, launching alongside the paid DLC. All of these new story elements and boss battles. Next juicy part I really want to cover, Yozora. What in the heck is Nomura up to? Nomura, you sly fox. I see what you did there. Call back to young Sora from Kingdom Hearts 1. The line he says. I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Hearing old Sora saying it is just a huge burst of nostalgia and memories. It's a perfect way to wrap up the Xehanort saga. It's beautiful. We have two voices here. The unknown voice is Yozora, saying the same exact thing as Sora. With that, I believe Nomura is trying to tell us that Yozora is a character who is Sora's parallel. Since world lines are now a thing, I wouldn't be surprised if Yozora experiences the same stuff as Sora but in a parallel timeline. Or in other words, his own world line. With this, some are now thinking that the nameless star in the final world is the girl Yozora is looking for. Hence, Yozora being Sora's parallel. The girl from Virum Rex. She also has a star necklace, and look, it's a star in the final world. Look, the way the nameless star starts describing the person, how he's changed beyond recognition, his heart being replaced with another, that to me seems to imply Laurium, aka Marluxia. This star, I still believe, is Strelitzia. Although the idea of Yozora being Sora's parallel sounds very cool, nameless star being the girl Yozora might also be looking for since they're parallels, I mean, I'm not too sure. At the end of the day, this is Nomura, right? Another cool thing, the night sky setting of the final world. Either there's a day and night cycle that exists in this near-death realm, or this is a Yozora influence. Somehow, the place changed due to Yozora's presence. Or since this is Kingdom Hearts, Sora unknowingly ends up within Yozora's heart. And this setting right here represents Yozora. Yozora is Japanese for night sky. Sora is known as Sky. Night and day parallels, eh? Let me bring up an old quote from Japan Expo 2013. Nomura had this to say, do you know the name Sora means sky in Japanese? And Noctis, his family name, is Skylum, which means sky as well, so basically, Noctis means night sky. So they are kind of complete opposites to each other. There's a reason why I named these characters as opposites. Noctis is kind of like my latest boy, or latest son, and I expect him to be more clever than Cloud. Okay, feels like Nomura is pulling the original essence of FF13 Versus, now called FF15, and putting it in Kingdom Hearts 3 low-key. Yozora being the old Noctis he always envisioned? How about that? This to me seems to be a secret boss battle. The secret boss battle which was hinted at a long time ago for ReMIND. I'm starting to get lingering Will vibes already. Oh boy. When does this take place? I'm going to guess this is before the secret ending we got in the base Kingdom Hearts 3 game. Sora faces Yozora, Sora fails, and ends up in Shibuya for a second chance at life via the Reaper's game. As for Yozora, he gets more fortunate and ends up in Shinjuku, where Riku eventually finds himself, I guess trying to look for Sora. So I think I've said plenty for this video, alright? So with that being said, leave your own thoughts and theories in the comments section below. How do you explain Sora being in the Keyblade graveyard? Do you believe he's trying to rewrite the war, hence Kairi now being playable? And the Guardians fighting against the Seekers? What do you think about that? And as for other things, apart from those two scenarios, leave anything. Alright, so with that being said, I've been Vivi, and thank you so much for watching.